Welcome to Raregivers 2023. My name is Crystal Barrett O'Loughlin. I'm the founder and CEO of Angel Aid. And I'm so excited to have a special guest today. Her name is Elizabeth Sacido. Hello, Elizabeth.
Hi,
So
thank
wonderful
you.
to see you. We're going to be talking in just a little bit about Rare Givers, our wellness retreats, the work that we've been doing in Mexico City with you, and specifically for the Spanish-speaking rare disease community. If you don't mind, I'm going to take a few minutes just to introduce to everybody what this campaign is all about, what we're trying to do through the whole month of October, and then we'll come back and we'll do our interview.
For
Okay?
sure.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so Angel Aid is a global nonprofit network. We provide personal connection and deep emotional support to patients, parents and caregivers, and the professionals that support these families in rare, chronic, and complex disease communities. So these are individuals that are living very medicalized lives. And that can add to feelings of isolation and overwhelm. And so, what we're hoping to do is to bring daily compassion and relief into our families. We have a goal to support 3.5 million rare givers by 2026, which seems like a massive goal, but it's actually very achievable, especially with mobile devices and other technologies coming online that help us with multilingual translation as well. The Rare Givers opportunity to support our work is running all through the month of October. So throughout the month of October, if you're a Microsoft employee, your donations will be matched by Microsoft, and we invite you to donate via Benevity. It's really important that you go to Benevity and log your donations there because then we get the match. If you can't get the QR code to work, you can just go straight to aka.ms/Angel Aid. And if you're outside the Microsoft environment, then you can donate via angelaidcares.org/give. And we have provided a donation guide here. You know, when you're donating, you really want to know, where are my dollars going? Where is this relief actually going to come into the home? Angel Aid provides live crisis support calls. We provide weekly, monthly support groups, live support groups. We provide wellness kits that we actually mail into the home. And in particular, when you're living these really medical experiences, needle fear and needle phobia can become a real challenge within the family and source of anxiety. And so that's one of our most successful programs. At the Halo level, the $1,000 level, we actually support a rare giver for a wellness retreat and then a whole year of support services beyond that. And then our archangels are the ones that are actually underwriting these wellness retreats around the world. So we really invite your support. We really need your support. And we're going to talk about some super cool, specific things that we're going to be doing in Mexico and with the Spanish-speaking community in the future. I want you to know that there's a personal purpose to all of this. I've started Angel Aid in the year 2000 in honor of the Barrett family. So let me give you a few words about what started this all. Because really, truly, my parents are the strongest people I know. Richard and Phyllis Barrett met in high school. My father was captain of the football team at Western High School, and my mother was head drill team leader, and they fell fast in love. They got married at 19 in 1963. And they wanted a big family, so they had a basketball team of kids, 5 kids in 8 years. And you can see here, my oldest brother, Richard, is just the golden child with his blonde hair, and then I'm the youngest. But you can also probably see that David, Jared, and Randy had the coarse facial features as they developed into children and into young men. It became apparent that 3 of my 4 older brothers had a rare genetic disease called mucopolysaccharidosis or Hunter syndrome. So MPS did claim the life of my three older brothers. The stress of the caregiving was acute. We were all wrapped up in the care of my brothers. And that stress actually broke my parents' marriage apart. They did divorce in 1975. I can tell you that there were a lot of joyful moments in our family, and there can be deep, deep honoring in loss. I can also offer to you that there is a place for forgiveness and empathy and understanding. And if you stick around to the end of this broadcast, I will share a love story like you've never believed about our Barrett family. The one thing that I have realized over the years is that in the suffering of life, in these difficult experiences, and we all have difficult experiences, especially with the pandemic, with our global climate crisis, with the wars that we're witnessing on the planet, it seems like it just has been piling on, doesn't it? That suffering actually sows the seeds of empathy. It really marinates your heart so that you can be there for someone that's also going through a very difficult time. So really collectively, as a global society, we are becoming more and more attuned to each other's needs for compassion and understanding. And this is a global challenge, especially in the rare disease community. And rare is such a misnomer. Rare is not rare. In fact, there are more rare diseases than AIDS and cancer combined. There are over 10,000 rare diseases affecting 350 million people around the world. The thing that hit my heart, especially after our experience with my brothers, is that still 50 years later, well, okay, 52 years later, still there are zero cures for any rare disease. And that is just heartbreaking. And when you take a look at what I call empathy math, you'll see what I'm talking about. If there's 350 million patients and families, and there's zero cures, then by default, you have a global mental health crisis on your hands. Everybody in the family is suffering emotionally with what's happening physically to our loved ones. And we know from the United Nations that actually it's important to focus on both the physical health and the emotional well-being. So we align squarely with the Sustainable Development Goals of good health and well-being. This isn't just physical health. While research and science are doing all the good work to find the treatments and cures, we need to be finding everyday solutions for emotional support, mental and emotional well-being. And that's what we've been delivering. So we've built a coalition. It's called the Raregivers Coalition. We've been leading it as Angel Aid. And in fact, last year we grew from 500 families to over 5,000 families in 1 year. In the last 9 months, we've gone from 5,000 families to over 15,000 families around the world. So you know there's a need, right? And we are here to address that need. We've built our practitioner network up to 22 psychologists and practitioners to support the community at scale, and we'll talk about how we do that. And we've delivered over 21,000 hours of wellness training. So this is fantastic, right? And we couldn't do it without the support from our corporate sponsors and so many of the patient advocacy organizations that we align with, including Elizabeth Sacido's organization, FDDN. So thank you very much to our sponsors, and thank you also to the Purple. Now you may have noticed the Purple down in the bottom right of that sponsor page. And what we want to offer to you is an opportunity to feel firsthand some of the calming tools. So the Purple is a calming tool, right? It's a darling little cuddly. And when you hold the Purple next to your body and you rub on the Purple's back, it starts purring, right? And you can hear in your ear, the purring. And this is a very, very effective calming tool. So we're also going to be talking about the calming effects of pets. And Elizabeth has some amazing stories there. But for the rest of us that don't have pets, or actually I do have a cat named Lady Gaga, but for the rest of us, we are offering every donation during the month of October will be entered to win a Purple calming companion. And we're going to be sending Purple out to Mexico, out to Australia, out to the European Union, and to a winner in the United States. So we actually have 4 Purples that we're so excited to send out. So please do make your donation. There's the QR codes just to make it easy for you. If it wasn't for your individual donations, we would not have been able to offer our wellness retreat in Mexico last year. It was literally volunteers and donors who helped make that happen. We were able to translate the Sustainable Caregiver into Spanish and ship a set of wellness kits down to Elizabeth and her team in Mexico to run that first all Spanish-speaking wellness retreat. We also ran a wellness retreat for the epilepsy community in Australia. So a group of caregivers who have children with epileptic symptoms. And those caregivers went through a 6-week wellness experience thanks to our volunteers and donors. And finally, we were able to host our very first men's retreat. We actually flew in men from around the world into our retreat center here in California, and we hosted them for 4 days and 3 nights. And here's what happens. When a partner, a caregiver, an individual goes through our wellness experience, they want to bring it back into their community. That's what happened with Elizabeth. She brought us into Mexico. That's what happened with Chris Pierce. She brought us into Australia. And same has happened within the men's retreat. We have several upcoming new programs coming for men as well. So thank you. What we do in these retreats is witness. We actually do a lot of deep listening, and we do provide tools. The Raregivers Emotional Journey Map was developed, and I know it looks like a video game, and we are planning to make this sort of interactive next year with our Microsoft volunteers. But there's deep science behind this. This experience is representative of all medicalized families. Okay, and what we do is we use this tool as a way to orient people. And in Mexico City and in Mexico and through Elizabeth, we actually translated the Raregivers Emotional Journey Map into Spanish, and we were able to use that tool with her caregivers in her communities. So without further ado, I'm just so excited to introduce my dear friend, Elizabeth Sacido, and we'll have a conversation now about how long we've known each other and how we can work more together. Hello, Elizabeth.
So hi, Crystal. Nice to see you.
Yes, thank you. Tell us about you. Tell us about your family. Tell us about what drives your passion every day.
As you saw in the picture, I'm a single mother. So I'm mother of 2. Valeria is 28 and Daniel is almost 27 the next month. And Daniel is living with a rare disease that the name is Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. It's a rare type of epilepsy. In fact, it's one of the most, let's say, aggressive type of epilepsy because he has many different type of seizures, and the epilepsy, this type of epilepsy, is resistant to many medicines. So currently, Danny takes 5 medicines 3 times a day, and he's still having seizures in the day. Yeah, so
that must be incredibly challenging, not only from a caregiving standpoint within the family and for Danny, for you as his mother to witness.
Right, and given this type of epilepsy, it can be one day he can be okay to go to the activities outside home daycare space. But suddenly next day or in the afternoon or in the evening, he can have a different type of seizures, and then he cannot walk, or we need to go to the hospital. For example, last weekend, we had to do that. So because of the epilepsy is out of control some days without notice.
Mm.
So this is the type of disease that Danny has, and that's why some years ago, his father and I decided to open a Fundación Danny Danenalú in Mexico,
Mm.
dedicated to inform about the Lennox-Gastaut syndrome, because given that this is a rare disease, there is, or in the past, there was no really information, or even the neurologists sometimes they didn't know, or they were not aware about this syndrome. They were not aware about the treatments. So then it was for us, 27 years ago, for us was really, really difficult to find information, to find doctors that can help us to identify what would be the right medication, the right treatment, all of those things. So that's why the foundation born, to help others to reduce the way or the journey they needed to invest to learn about Lennox-Gastaut syndrome. Yeah.
And here you've established this foundation, and you're bringing so much knowledge and experience and connecting these families, but also the relief of just knowing you're not alone. So talk about that. Talk about
Right.
community that you've been building and how that.
Right. I learned about that community because before to start the foundation, we were very active on participating on the foundation that is in US, LGS Foundation. So in US, so we were able to attend to conferences, and we were feeling how when there was a conference, how you feel the community, the sense of community, that you were not alone, and how you didn't feel rare. Yeah, because everybody was living the same thing. Everybody was had the same experience, or we were interchanging experience, and it was very useful. I remember that during those conferences, I learned about some medicines, some combinations, and when I come back to Mexico, I talk to the neurologist. Let's do this, let's do that. So, and when I have a doubt, I ask for other moms in the community, and it was really helpful. So that's why it's also, we wanted to do the same in Mexico. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And at some point, you learned about Angel Aid, and you heard about a wellness retreat that we were offering for global rare
Right.
mothers. How did that come about?
Right.
How did it feel to be a part of it?
Yeah. So 7 years ago, I divorced. I got divorced. So since 7 years ago, I learned, because before I was married and we were carrying Daniel and our daughter together. Yeah. But then 7 years ago, I learned how was to live or to be a single mom caring for a person with disabilities that requires 20, 24 hours support. So since 7 years ago, I learned. I was so scared because in the past I didn't have that experience, because I have a partner where we were sharing everything, but then suddenly we were not together, and then I had to take care of my son, and he's taller and is bigger than me. So I was not, I mean, I felt at that moment that I was not prepared to do that. But then I started learning from other mothers that were doing the same, yeah, before than me, yeah. So, but in that process, I also learned that it was so stressful, and a part of caring Daniel, I have a full-time job. So I needed to work. I needed to take care of him. So I was so tired. so
Mm.
stressed. And then I was looking for options, what I can do to um, go out and share with someone else what I'm living, interchange experience, and all of that, those things. And then I found you. So I found Angel 8, and then you were announcing the retreat, virtual retreat, because we were in the pandemic, during the pandemic. So I joined. I mean, I sent a request for a scholarship. Then I participate. I met a lot of people, really good women. So, and yeah, so I felt again the community, even that we were not in front of each other. So then in that period, I wanted to do the same, but for moms in Mexico. That's
Yes.
why the idea arose and say, hey, let's do something together to do this, but in person for the moms in Mexico. So that's why
Yes,
the
yes.
idea.
So you felt it firsthand, and we always intended to digitize and do things remotely. We just didn't think we were going to have to do it so soon. So when the pandemic hit, it changed everything, and Microsoft was able to help us accelerate our digital capabilities. And I'm so glad because it actually has allowed us to partner in ways that would have taken us many, many more years to partner. Um, One of the ways that we've partnered is in our Give campaign. So when we're asking for support, and we received so much support last year for language translation services and being able to offer the sustainable caregiver and our wellness experience in other languages. So you were the first to host in another language, in this case in Spanish. And one of the things that came up was there's so many needs within the family, and there's so many impacts on the stress in the family. So certainly the awareness of self-care, being able to take that respite, set just a few hours or even days aside for your own health care and well-being. But there's other things that reduce stress in the family. And one of those things in your family is Nalu. So can you talk about Nalu and what your plans are to keep the stress levels down in the family in this very creative way? So let's hear about that.
Right. Nalu is a golden retriever. Is a girl. Now she's 10 years, so she's in a retiring mode. She's just resting now, that enjoying the life, because after she has been working with Daniel since 10 years ago. So she arrived as puppy, and then she learned how to deal with Daniel in terms of the noise, the strong, the movements that he has. So she learned to do that. She learned to calm him when he was having a seizure, or when he has a anxiety um, a period or something like that. So, and yeah, so she has helped a lot to him in terms of emotional way. So she's not prepared to detect the seizures, but she is prepared to support him during all the phases that or the different periods of the day for him. So Daniel is Daniel say hello or hola. The only, let's say, human, or not person, but he only say hola to Nalu.
Mm,
So he
mm,
speaks with her
mm,
to say come. He used some words for her to follow some instructions. So
mm,
Nalu has provided a lot of mental support, but not only Daniel. So because all the family. So and it's like I don't know how to describe, yeah, the sense, because uh, in one way is amazing how the connection is between Nalu and Daniel, but also how I feel as a mother, seeing that connection. Yeah, it's like I don't know how to describe. And
Mm.
definitely, all of us love that Nalu. So, but as I said, she's now 10 years. She has been doing a great job. So now she is having a body, a friend, a new puppy that is coming, and his name is Buzz, like Buzz Lightyear
Buzz
from Toy
Lightyear.
Story. Yeah,
So
is Buzz
adorable.
because Toy Story is the the favorite movie for Daniel. So
Yes.
his name is Buzz, and we had the fortune to receive a donation to cover the 50% of the cost for the training for Boss.
Mm.
Now Boss is going to be trained as seizure alert dog. It
Wow.
it means that he of course he will provide also emotional support to Daniel, but additionally he will be trained to detect the seizures before,
Wow.
so some seconds before.
That's amazing. And just knowing that you have that additional support in the family must be so calming. So,
Correct.
Elizabeth, our community has very generous hearts, and we encourage everyone that's been listening to this broadcast and that will listen to it in the future to consider making a donation to support um, Nalu and her retirement, Buzz and his training, and Elizabeth and her dream of continuing to bring Angel Aid support services into Mexico City. And we want the same. We want to see you host a full retreat in 2024. That would be amazing. And we hope that you will continue to partner with us. We hope the community will continue to donate and support the work that we do. We have been so lucky to have a relationship with Omar Aldava Ortiz in Mexico City at Microsoft. He is the director of the Microsoft Technology Center there and really has just been a powerhouse and being a champion for supporting mental health within the rare disease community. So thank you, Omar. Thank you, Elizabeth. And we look forward to seeing you and your family more in the coming years. And I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of things, but it just makes me joyful to see your face and see you thriving. And I wish you all the best.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you for the invitation. And then I hope that the next year I can show you how the success story for Boss. Yeah.
Beautiful. That's beautiful. Okay, well, you've heard it here through our Raregivers broadcast that every Monday through Friday throughout October, we are featuring stories meant to inspire you to support the work that we do, meant to give you an opportunity to experience the gifts of wellness, to experience meditations that we host during our wellness retreats and fitness experiences, but also to actually hear directly from parents and caregivers and others that are affected by these experiences. So Elizabeth gave us a really beautiful overview of how Angel Aid has impacted her life and her broader community. I promised you if you stuck to the end of the broadcast, I would give you a love story like you've never believed. Richard and Phyllis Barrett, my parents did marry in 1963. They divorced in 1975 because of the stress of caregiving. And soon after, remarried again, both of them, second marriages. Those marriages ended in divorce. They each remarried a third time, long, 20-year long marriages. Both of those marriages ended in widowhood. And my parents actually reconnected over the joyful moment of our daughter Chloe being born, their granddaughter. And so what we have is a love story of two people that have gone through very, very deep trauma and grief and have found through those experiences deep empathy and love and forgiveness. So Richard and Phyllis married again this year in 2023, 60 years after the first time around. I'd like to thank you for joining our broadcast today. I really, really appreciate you taking the time to listen to Elizabeth's story and listen to the work that we're doing at Angel Aid. And I implore you, please donate. Your donations, every amount, makes a huge difference in the work that we're doing within the rare disease community. We are bringing relief on a daily basis to this community. And in fact, if you know anyone in your community that needs this support, please go to angelaidcares.org or raregivers.global and join our newsletters, our weekly support groups, and the like. I thank you. I hope that all is well in your world, and we look forward to seeing you on the next Rare Givers broadcast.